Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is AHauntedRob, and welcome back to Exploring Eorzea, episode 2. Today we're actually going to be delving straight into the game, picking up some initial missions and quests, starting to build out our levels and our skills and equipment a little bit, and just really getting into the nitty-gritty of the game. We could speak to Hamon here, which we have no choice to do because he's the only one who will offer us any quests. And the first quest is coming to Ul'dah. To be recognised as an adventurer in the city-state of Ul'dah, you must register yourself with the Adventurers Guild. So let's get that done then, otherwise we're not going to get very far. So Hamon is basically just going to tell us don't go wandering around the city if you don't know where you're going. Points us over to the Adventurers Guild and letting us know the name of it, which is the Quicksand. And the person who owns the Quicksand and is head of the Adventurers Guild for Ul'dah is Momodi, who we will be spending a lot of time with in the early stages of the game. So we best get used to being in the Quicksand, because that's where we're going to be more often than not to pick up main story missions, as well as some other side type quests as well. You have begun a quest. Use the duty list to help you complete your task. The duty list is down here on the right hand side at the moment, which is just underneath the minimap. I can also, this is the main scenario up here, coming to Ul'dah, which is in the top left. We also have something underneath which says Wave the Pugilist. So what that is the next job mission that's available for me to take, which is the level 1 job mission, which is to go to the Pugilist Guild and to register myself there as well. First things first, before I go into the Quicksand, however, is not to get the Adventurers Guild Crystal, because it's not actually there yet. It doesn't appear until after you've spoke to Momodi, I believe. It's to really try and force new players to not venture off before they've got the main story underway. So we'll speak to Momodi, who is checking the most pixelated book ever. I am Volond. Yep, I want to join the Adventurers Guild, please. Okie dokie. As we can see, so the Adventurers Guild is sort of the home base for where adventurers come to pick up sort of missions and contracts and do work for money. We have an evil empire already named, which is the Garlean Empire. Every good Final Fantasy game has to have an evil faction, an empire or otherwise. "5 years since the lesser moon cracked open like a giant egg." So for anybody who played the 1.0 version of Final Fantasy XIV, which was, albeit a disaster, which ended up getting shut down for this game to be born, what happened was that they utilised basically an end of the world scenario to shut the game down, where the moon broke apart. Bahamut was inside the moon, and he destroyed pretty much everything in a calamity. And then this is 5 years past that point. And that's just a bit of a subtle hint. Nobody really remembers the version 1.0 of the game anymore. But sometimes the game, you know, that game, if that game succeeded, we would never have had this game. And I think the mechanics of that game would have persevered, and we wouldn't have had the game that we have today. So I think in some ways it was a good. It ended up being a bit of a blessing in disguise, because this game has done incredibly well because of the failure of its original incarnation. From what I've seen, there are private servers and ways that you can actually play the 1.0 version. And there's lots of remnants of the 1.0 version hiding within the game. Obviously as references, this is the same world, it's the same map, etc. But 14 was supposed to be sort of like the next step of 11, Final Fantasy 11, but it never quite worked out like that. Again, which is why a lot of the races share similarities to Final Fantasy 11. Even though, as far as I can tell, the world of Vana'diel in Final Fantasy 11 and the world of Eorzea are completely separate worlds. Isn't that a charming name? It is a very charming name, thank you very much. But yeah, because they are definitely separate worlds. However, there is references to Final Fantasy 11 in this game, which kind of tie the two worlds together, which is a bit strange. Because they are separate, but at the same time there are links, which I'll show you as and when we get to them as well. Immediately don't like this man because he's got a twirly moustache and a monocle. Must be an evildoer. No, please have mercy. I like that. He's thrown on the floor. He's at the mercy of the crowd, and she's like, "Yeah, it happens. Unfortunately, if you work hard, you'll not be like that." How desensitized to people's suffering do you have to be to not really do anything about it? Welcome to Ul'dah. You've witnessed violence and vandalism and inequality. I'm sure you'll enjoy it here. Take a moment to catch my breath. I'm pretty sure if I did that in a city like here, I would be, well, most likely mugged and potless by the end of the day. There we go. So that's the same way we've done the tutorial, and we've taken our first steps into the game. And now level 3. So this is what I was talking about with the server in the last video, is because this server is a Road to 80 server, you get dramatically increased experience. So I just got 100% extra experience, which is in the bottom left here in the chat window, and I went from level 1 to level 3. As you can see, the quest icon above Momodi there is different. It has the Final Fantasy 14 logo in gold. That means that it is a story mission, a main quest line. And we will be seeing the job quest or side quest line icon soon as well, just so you can see the difference. Most of these main story missions will have some sort of cutscene every now and again. Some of them don't, some of them do. It just depends on whether it's like a filler, a main story filler, or whether it's a main story as in a bit of storyline to bring you further through the game. So this is where we've been told about Aetheryte and the fast travel mechanics within the game. This is where the crystal will now be available for me to look at and attune to. So you need to attune to crystals, and when you do, it opens them up to fast travel to. So each of the city states has got a plethora of them throughout the city, and then each area has sort of like a main Aetheryte crystal, which is a giant crystal, which is what you use to teleport between the cities and between the various other towns and locations that all have one throughout the game. Eventually you'll have a list a mile long to scroll through, and it all costs money to be able to access them. So if you haven't got any money, you can't teleport. The smith over there. So once you hit level 15, you'll be able to do new adventurer missions, which give you a really good set of equipment as well as a really good ring at the end of it. The ring gives you a 30% boost to experience on top, which stacks with this Road to 80 experience, so you can really start pounding the experience up. The equipment that you get, the brand new gear as it's called, Is also a very good gear set for 15, and it will tide you over quite nicely for a good few levels before you have to change it out. So this gentleman here is just telling you what smiths do. They provide adventurers with the opportunity to sort of develop their skills. It also talks about the novice network. So the novice network is a chat window that you can join when you are what's called a sprout, which is the little green sprout next to my name. All sprouts can join the novice network. Sprouts also get bonus experience in dungeons and certain other areas, again with the effort of trying to help you level up quicker. All of this just sits and rolls in the background. You don't have to be active in the novice network. You don't have to speak to the mentors if you don't want to. However, it's always recommended that if you need help, just ask somebody. The community is always really willing to support and help. It's one of the biggest things about Final Fantasy XIV is how positive the community is overall. It's not a toxic community unlike some other games, which is unfortunate for those games. And here we have our first Aetheryte shard. So we left click and attune. It says you now have Aetheryte access to the Adventurers Guild. You now have access to the Aethernet. Quick travel throughout the city can be achieved by simply placing your hand upon the Aethernet shards. So Ul'dah has the largest amount of Aetheryte shards. Once you've got all of the Aetheryte shards for a location, it will then usually give you a couple of bonus places, such as the airship landing if there's an airship landing to be had. Oh, I'm just going to open up my map here because I'm very used to having this. We have the mini map, which is great because it has all of the little icons to show you where missions are and things, but then the big map is really good for just being able to quickly gloss over and have a look at everything. So first things first is I'm going to go over here. The Pugilist Guild is down over this way, so we are going to go to the Pugilist Guild. Waymond is there again. So these are just side missions, by the way. So, these circular icons, quest icons here, they are just sort of like added world building flavor type things. You know, they give you a little bit of money, a little bit of experience, usually some potions or equipment. They're completely optional. They're not required in any way, shape or form for you to be able to achieve maximum level or get the best equipment. Usually they are optional fillers if you're needing a little bit of an extra boost with experience, but because of the road to 80, that's not going to be an issue at all. This is the big Aetheryte shard that was discussed. This is what you teleport to when you go to between cities and towns. So this person here is trying to swindle me by saying that there is an attunement fee of 100,000 gil, but obviously they're just joking. There's no way that anybody would pay 100,000 gil to attune to the crystal, and if they did that, then Ul'dah would undoubtedly probably economically crash because everybody would have to travel manually, which is dangerous, as we saw at the very beginning of the game. Wonderful. I've learnt return. So return acts in the way that it did in Final Fantasy XI as well, for anybody who played that. Basically what return does is it means that anywhere in the world, so long as you return to the crystal that you have registered, so set as home point. So this being the first one that I've attuned to, set to home point automatically. It means that if I want to return here for free, you can do. Return doesn't cost anything, unlike teleport. So if you are low on funds and you need to get back to where you originate from, great. Be sure to update and change where your home point is every now and again. Depending on where you are within the story, certain locations you'll be at more often than not, so it's better just to have your home point there. So we've arrived at the Pugilist Guild now, and here is the receptionist, Gagaruna. And basically this is the start of the Pugilist Guild's job quest line. It's also a part of the main story because we're expected to speak to these main people, so attune yourself to the Aetheryte, visit the Pugilist Guild, listen to Cesaroga's explanation of the markets. So we get a brief history of the guild. Basically, monk go punch punch is effectively what it is. So I've accepted... Sorry, I completely skipped over that. So this is the job quest lines, or side quests. They look like normal quests, but they have a blue background and they have a plus sign next to them, meaning that it's additional content, which is quite often... For the jobs, it's essential, realistically, to be able to get the most out of the jobs and to not fall behind in capability in the later game. A lot of the other ones are optional extras, so like going into optional areas, optional dungeons, accessing storylines which aren't integral for you to be able to continue with the game. But they're often contained stories, and the contained stories within this game are usually very well written, very entertaining to be a part of, so I wouldn't suggest skipping anything if you had the option to. Maybe ignoring them for a time and coming back to them might be beneficial if you're determined to just get through certain areas or certain sections of the game first, such as the main story or the jobs, and then come back to them later. But this is Master Hamon. Master Hamon is the leader of the Pugilist Guild, and a master fist fighter, and, well, also kicking. And as we just seen there, he is lightning fast. And he begins to punch the air repeatedly, and then inevitably, because he's an elderly gentleman, he knackers himself out. Yep, so I want to join. I can go the distance, and this is where he is going to inevitably ask me to run off into the field and go fight some things to prove my worth. Most apologies, I've got a very dry throat now. Yep, so sure enough, there we go. Slay, Star Marmots, Huge Hornets, and Snapping Shrews. Thankfully, with this duty list roster here, if I was to click on the name, it would bring up the entire mission. I could then click on the map here, and it would show me where these creatures were, which is really, like, makes the game so much easier. Than it's definitely not one of those where the fuck do you go games. It's definitely one of those games where it will handhold you as much as you need handholding. The joys of modern MMORPGs, gone are the days I found Fantasy 11, for instance, where you would be chucked into the deep end, given no frame of reference. The map doesn't actually show you anything. You have to search for everything yourself and spend hours and hours and hours on Google. We don't have to do that. There is some things that you might have to Google still, but it's very few and far between, thankfully. We have sprint here, which increases movement, so I'm going to activate that just so we can get around the town a little bit quicker. And I'm going to go down here to the Thaumaturge's Guild here to pick up the next Aetheryte shard. Might as well collect them as and when I'm nearby. So we'll attune to that one now. I'm not going to go into the Thaumaturge's Guild because I can't do anything yet. At the moment, you have to be, I think it's like level 10 or level 15 before you can actually join other guilds and unlock other job roles. So you are stuck with the job that you started out with for a time. Not a long time, granted, level 10 to 15, considering I haven't left Ul'dah yet and I'm already level 3, which is great. There are some quests that I would like to do just to get a little bit of bonus experience, mainly because the job missions are every 5 levels. So if I manage to do them too quickly before time and I'm not the right level yet, then I will be stuck having to do other things anyway. So say for instance, if I spoke to Genevieve here, she panics, she drops all of her gil. Down there is an arena which you never go into apart from I think once. So this is just a regular quest, so this is very fetch questy, very traditional MMO type fare. Picking up drop gil, so she's dropped loads of gil all over the floor. I would love to know how she actually managed to flick this much money everywhere just by going and holding her hands to her face. But never mind, she's done that. I'm picking them up, despite the fact that she'd probably be just as capable doing it herself. My gill, now! And there better be not missing. There's your 5 bags of gill. What are you still staring at? Expecting some kind of reward? The insolence. And she ends up giving me 102 gill back. Could have just kept that realistically and made more money, but never mind. The other thing that we need to do, so there was quite a lot of Ethernet shards around here, so we need to attune to the Gladiators Guild. Then we'll go down and go to the Goldsmiths Guild. Remembering to sprint as well, just to make it a little bit less painful. We'll run around here, and there's the next Ethernet shard, which is Goldsmiths, and then the next one will be the Miners. And we'll just get in. This does take me to where I need to be anyway. It's not like I'm going out of my way. I do eventually end up in the market area, which is where Cesaroga, which is the last person I need to speak to, is. The masked carnival, was it? The masked carnival. Can't say I've done anything with that yet. I assume it's end game level stuff. We'll attune to this one, and then we'll keep going this way. And this is why I like having the big map open. You don't have to have it open. I don't always have it open either. But it's definitely easier in the early game just to have this open, just so you can see exactly where you need to be. This is the Weavers Guild. And like I said, Ul'dah has the most out of all of them, so realistically this is probably the most painful this is ever going to be in terms of collecting shards. A lot of places might only have 4 or 5 max. Some places might only have 2 or 3. Ul'dah definitely has the most. There's Cesaroga there. I will collect this Ethernet shard here. There we go. Still don't have them all yet, and I honestly can't remember which one. Ah, there's a set of stairs to the upper level, to the hustling strip. That's where the last ones are. So I have to give the letter of introduction to Cesaroga, and then he breaks out into song. No, he doesn't. He just lets me know that gives me a breakdown of the market district, the Sapphire Avenue Exchange. It has the market boards, material elders, and all of the regular merchants that sell armor, weapons, tools for fieldcraft, such as gathering, fishing, blacksmithing, etc. So there's the marketplace. It's a very nice looking marketplace. And it says to the north is apothecaries and potion makers, etc. And then to the south is where you get your weapons and armor. I wouldn't worry about buying things from the shops in the most instances, especially not with your first character. Your first job when you're starting out, because if you're doing the missions anyway, you will be given equipment right the way through for like all of the sections, all of the pieces of equipment that you might need. So that'll keep you going. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the Ethernet shard to go back to the Gladiators Guild. So as I say here, I am missing the Alchemist Guild and the Chamber of Rules. So if I go back to the Gladiators Guild, just a quick teleport. Ethernet shards as well within cities are free, so you can use them to your heart's content. Then I'm going to go up the stairs. I'm just going to reset the map, so when you teleport the map doesn't follow, unfortunately. So by pressing M on the keyboard, it turns the map on and off, which just resets the tracking. So I go up these stairs. I've got one more here, which is the Chamber of Rule. I'll go around and grab that one, and then we have the Alchemist Guild, and then upon collecting that final one, it will say we've collected all of them, and we should get the couple of extra bonus teleports, which take us to outside of the city and to the airstrip landing, I believe. Oh, the airship landing, sorry, not the airstrip landing. But the ones that teleport us to outside are particularly useful, just to be able to jump straight into doing these missions here, the Way of the Pugilist, and killing these Mormons, Hornets and Shrews. Saves me having to run all the way to an exit. So I think what we'll do is, as you can see here, close to home, it says report back to Momodi, and it's got a green tick now, which means I've completed this one. So if I report back to her, that will be the end of the mission, and we move on to the next one. So what we'll do is, this is complete. We'll complete the Way of the Pugilist as well, and then once we've completed that, we will clear these two off, and that should be us for today. We are actually making some progress. And see here it says we now have access to the Gate of Thal, Central Thalan, Northern Thalan, Western Thalan. Sorry, Western Thalan and the two Central Thanalans. Sorry, Thanalan. Always have to... And here they are here on the other, as well as the airship landing as well. So if I click on here once, it shows that we haven't discovered the map yet, but as soon as you walk into an area, it unlocks the whole map. There's nothing that I need there other than... this just tells me if I go into the Central Thanalan, that this is where the missions are that I need. These orange circles are the areas where the enemies will be for the missions that you have. So it's again, the map is really concise in showing you where everything is. Yep, so there's nothing there. You can see Horizon here has an Etherite, so I can attune to that and then teleport to Horizon, or I can teleport to Blackbrush Station once I've got that one there. So I'm going to go to the Gate of the Nald because it is right next to where I need to be. So teleport there and we'll be outside. You also get experience for mapping the area, so as you can see now the map is fully fleshed out. You can see everything. This is the case for pretty much all of the maps. And we're going to get into our first combat. I'm going to turn the big map off just so we have more screen. And as you can see, enemies that you need to attack have the little quest marker above them. So again, it's super easy to see which enemies you need to fight. So the game makes it really easy to track. And so I've gotten straight into combat, and I've already killed the first one because they are very easy to kill. Because I'm using the mouse and keyboard, it's numbered. It's the keybinds 1 through 0, then control, hold down control 1 through 0, through equals. And this is the type of game where you just repeatedly, at the moment I don't have combos, I've just got one singular attack. I can just attack them and punch them regularly, but as you can see it does very little damage. It's just easier to use Boot Shine, which is my weapon skill. Does 20 extra damage. It puts me into something called Raptor Form, which is a stance. So Pugilists have different fighting stances which affect skills and the likes, which we'll get into once I've killed this Momodi. So if I pull up our traits, nope, it's not in. Oh, the forms are not in here. I thought the forms were. But again, I don't use Pugilist very often. But these are all of the abilities that I will get, and they're all level based. So when I get level 4, I'll get True Strike, Snap Punch, Meditation, etc. Roll. These are for what type of job you're doing. So if it's DPS, you'll get these ones. If it's tank, tank rolls will have a set. Healer will also have a set of their own as well. And then traits, these are passives. These just improve your sort of your abilities as you go on. And as you can see there, the star moments are all defeated, as with the little tick on the right hand side here, which means the quest marker is now gone from them. So we don't need to kill any more star moments. We do, however, have to get some more giant bees. One more giant bee. Oh, I've leveled up. I'm level 4. I got True Strike. Now, as you can see here, after I use Boot Shine, True Strike has this little dotted line that goes around it. That means that it combos in with Boot Shine. So Boot Shine activates Raptor Form. This can only be executed whilst in Raptor Form, and then it changes to Curl Form. So that's how you do combos with the monk. That will stay like that for as long as Raptor Form is active. But once Raptor Form finishes in 3 seconds, True Strike will disappear as an ability. So I can't use True Strike now until I've got Raptor Form again. And down here we have the Snapping Shrews, which are not so small considering they're shrews. So you press 1, do Boot Shine, get Raptor Form. Press 2, do True Strike. Boom, get Curl Form and kill the shrew pretty much immediately because of how much damage it does. There we go. One more to do. Bang, bang, bang. Wabam. Gone. There we go. And I got decent experience there as well. And now I can... Both these are done, so I can now go back to... Ul'dah. And the gate is just over here. So I'll go back up here. I will sprint, just to make it a bit easier for everybody. And then we'll be able... I'll do the Pugilist guild first. And then pick up the... I'll probably level up. And then I'll pick up the next mission in prep for the next video. And then we'll go to the quicksand. We'll speak to Momodi. And then that will be us done. Annoyingly, we are right next to the quicksand. Which means I'm going to have to go down this way. And then all the way back. Well, actually, I only have to go to the Aetheryte Plaza. And then I can jump to the Adventurers Guild if I want to be super duper lazy. Which I might do. Because I am very super duper lazy in terms of manoeuvring around the map. Especially when I'm in cities that don't allow you to use mounts. Not that we have one yet. I don't have a chocobo to ride. I don't have anything else. But we will go back to Master Hamon. He's got a green tick above him, which means I am done with what he's asked. You've killed the creatures. You've become stronger. The next is level 5. Boom, I hit level 5. Which means I can now get the next mission. Now, as you can see here, the next mission, level 5, harder than rock. There is a lot. There is a lot of quests that are innuendos in this game because the developers have a massive sense of humour. So, Guildmaster Hamon wishes you to learn the basics of combinations. For completing this, I will get 1400 experience. I will get the next weapon, the Bone Horror, and then I will have a choice. So, options, I get to pick one of these things. Custom made shirt, a leather eye patch, fingerless gloves, altered thigh boots, or the Allegan tin piece. These tin pieces, Allegan pieces, you basically just sell them for money. So these tin ones just sell for 25 gil a pop. The more rare the metal that it's made out of, the more valuable they are. At the moment, because I don't have any equipment, any of these things would be nice. And as you can see here, it does show you, so in the green numbers are basically indicating that it is better than the equipment that I'm wearing, so it gives me plus 18 and plus 9 on my defense and magical defense against what I'm currently wearing. You've been training hard. Not particularly, I'm just getting bonus experience, but hey ho, I've definitely been training hard. And as you can see there, immediately I have got an absolute boatload of stuff. He wants me to pick up scattered gil. I might pick up a couple of pieces if I walk past them on the way to the quicksand, but I'm not 100% sure where they are. If I don't see them, I don't see them. We will pick them up in the next video. We will very quickly run to the quicksand. There we go. There is some baited gil coins behind the dancers, of course. I have to get in the middle of the dancers. We'll pick them up because they're on the way. There we go. Right. Then we'll go to the Adventurers Guild, which we can go through the side door. We'll go through the side door. Oh, and there's small coins there. I was going to leave this mission for the next video, but apparently I'm going to at least make a start on it because it's already here. And then we'll speak to Momodi. And we'll get a cutscene because this is main quest line. How was your tour? Did you get lost? Nope. Can't say I did. It's almost as if I've been here before. It's a big place, yeah. It is probably the largest of the city-states. Well, maybe not in terms of the layout. I suppose the layout of other city-states might make it feel a bit bigger, but I think Ul'dah has the most in it. So we got another big pile of experience there, which didn't quite level us up, but didn't get us far off leveling. And then we'll speak to Momodi again. We must rebuild. Need to be level 4. We get some experience, we get some gil, and then we get options of some boots. Two different types of boots. These boots are better for me because they're Disciple of War, which means they're geared more towards physical attributes. And then pick up some bronze pieces if I wanted to do so, which the bronze pieces are only really good if I was like replaying these and I didn't need this equipment, or I already had better equipment than this. Yep, so she's asking us to go out to the dispatch yard to speak to somebody called Papashan. And then once I spoke to Papa Shan, then that's the quest over. It is just as simple as that. Some of these are just go to the person and speak to them, and then but you still get the same amount of main storyline experience just for doing that as you would do fighting a boss. It's a bit strange, but it helps with the pacing and it helps make sure that you level up quickly and stay ahead of the curve with the levels. But anyway, we have made progress. I'm astounded. We've made some progress. We've got to level 5 already. We've done our first job mission and we've done our first main storyline mission, which is great. So Valond is definitely getting settled into Ul'dah. Arguably the largest person in Ul'dah so far. There is not many Rodegans in Ul'dah. They are mostly in Limsa, which we will visit eventually, obviously, as the story expands. But anyway, guys and girls, hopefully you've enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.